Well, welcome back. We are going to continue looking at forms and using those within using Django's forms to save some data. We looked last time around. We were out here and we're playing around with some of our data, and let's go log into that. Do a quick. Well, here we go. So we put together a nice little form and we had a little message. And so what we're going to do here, most of these pieces are in place. We have a message that's going to be where we store our success or failure. We're displaying our form as a table. We've actually done a little bit of styling on it. We've kept it very simple right now. This is our inline stuff. We will talk a little later about cascading style sheets and classes and using real styles as opposed to attributes. We'll be cleaning that up a little bit. And we included this CSRF token to make sure that we've got something that is secure. So it's going to avoid some of the cross-site scripting and things like that. And then we went ahead and added an input button, a submit button. So we need to actually do something with this. If we go back to our view, what we have right now, we had the two types. Let me go back to the URLs first. We had two of these. We have one that's really just creating a new one and one that is going to be editing. So task or task with an ID. So if we go, let me make sure I've got the right address. If we go here, if we do just with task, then we get a blank. If we get it a number, then we're going to get some of the data that comes in from whatever task that is. Okay, that's not an actual. Let's go look at, if we look real quick, so let's say like, what is my second task? That's number 4. So we can look there. And I found out that was number 4 because I looked up here and then I just put the 4 there. There's going to be easier ways to get to this later. We're just doing this very manually now. So this would be if I wanted to edit this task. Well, we can see I'm missing a lot of information. So what I need to do is go back over here and deal with my view. So currently there's not a whole lot that we do, but let me go ahead and on edit, I'm going to change my message. So it's now going to be, instead of edit a record, it's going to be please enter data for a new record. I'm going to change the title to edit task. And now this piece is key. If we're going to post back to, which is what we've set up here, this is basically just going to post back to this page. So what we need to do is we need to actually handle that. Now what we can do is take the request, and if the method is equal to post, then we can do something. So let's do very simply first. Let's just show that. So when we come in, initially message is going to be please enter data for a new record. And if there's a post, then I'll move this up here just because. If it's a post, then we're going to get record saved message, and then otherwise it's going to be exactly the same. So let's go look at that. If we look here, I think it's all updated. So now the first time we come in, please enter data for a new record. And now if we just save, we didn't do anything, but this is going to do the post, then we're going to get that record saved. So see that that's come through here, and we're getting this message. It's getting the post. So now let's go ahead and move that down. Now the nice thing is there's not a whole lot you have to do. What we're going to do is first is just grab this form. We're going to create a form variable. And what we can do is, this is a task. If you remember, this all starts with a task form. And we're going to take the request post and load the instance data. And then we can check if it's valid, which runs through some validators, which we will cover in the future. For now, we can just say, hey, is it valid? And if it is, we're going to save that form. And I guess we'll go ahead and move the record saved. Will be there. We'll be really nice, and we'll do else message equals invalid record. And then it just falls through and does basically it's going to come back through and edit what we just, allow us to continue to edit what we just did. what we just saved. So we've got that updated. And now if we take a look here, so enter the data for a new record. Let's create a due date of December 31st, 2021, and save the record. Now what we've run into here is list object has no attribute strip. And so this turns into our is valid. What we're running into Three, two, one. Now this actually, I forgot because of our playing around, one of the things we did is we used a split date time widget, and that, it doesn't like that because that actually returns a list. We'd have to actually do something with it instead of bring it back in. So let's switch this over to date time field. And we're gonna go in and we'll come back in here. And let's try this again. Let's see if we do this. May have to refresh. Let's go double check this guy here. Oh, helps to save our change. Go here. Oh, and we missed something here. So split date time field. Well, let's simplify this because we're going to come back. I don't want to actually tackle these yet. That level. So let's make him the same thing. Select date time widget. Select date time widget. Oh. Now if we save that, it should come through. Whoops, that's not it. Don't really care about that thing. Okay, so it came back through. And if we go here, let's make sure we got it. And now we've got it saved and it's loaded. So now let's go back and do, so 7 was not a task, but was one that was. So if we look at this one that we had before, now let's go back to that 4 that we just edited, and we will see that we brought our date up. So this is actually fairly straightforward. Now we did notice in here one of the things that we can run into, which is when we're building these fields, when we're using these widgets in particular, here in the widgets, sometimes they're going to bring back stuff that's not exactly a format that we need. So what we would need to do there is we'd have to come in here during this this piece. We'll load that data up, and then we're going to have to do something with it. Real quick before we wrap this one up, I do want to do just for grins, I want you to see what a form looks like. So when I come in and let's see, yeah, we'll do that on the post. So if we come into our form, and we're going to take this guy and we will add a completion date. Let's do the same. Let's change our status. So we're going to change them up a little bit, but the key here, so we saved our record, but now let's go look at what a form looks like. Because I think that's sort of useful when you want to do some debugging and things like that. The form that came in starts here. And so we're going to see the whole form. We can see all the values. We can see here you can see the options for the drop downs for the dates. Here's 2025, 2026, 2027. You can see all the controls. You can see what the names are. Here's another selection list. You can see the value that was submitted for, well, here, it's got to go all the way back here. The value that was submitted for example, for minutes spent. The whole form is there. Now it does do, as you see here, that doesn't, it comes through, it checks it as validation, and then it saves it. So it's smart enough to parse through that. But if you want to see what's sent back, you can just print it and you can see the full form. You can see exactly what's out there and what it's sending back. That's all I wanted to worry about this time, is I just wanted to sort of finish talking about editing fields, and we're going to come back next time. We're going to do some more work on these pages themselves and start adding a little bit more around that. And then we're going to get a little deeper into some of these other pieces as well. But that gives us, now we've got something that we can actually go in. And if we look at the admin site for number 4, actually, let's just go. If we list our tasks, I think this was the one that was in progress. We can see that task that I just created. I've got my due date. I've got my completion date that I did. I set it to in progress, minutes spent. And now I can do it here, and I can make this complete. And let's say I spent 10 minutes on it. If I save it here and then go back over here, I'm going to see there. I've changed that. I'd set that to complete 10 minutes. So we've got 2 different ways. Now, let's do this real quick, that we can create and edit data. So let's do a quick one. This will be my 4th task, just to walk through that. And I'm just going to make that new 0 minutes spent, no completion date, no due date. And then when I come in, now notice, remember when we did the edit, we come back to the edit page. When we do the new, it's just going to allow us to create a new one. But if we go out here, if we go out to here and list, come here, we're going to see that we didn't save it because we have to put the view, we have to handle the view here. So the posts that we did for, which is a good little oversight, glad I looked at that. In CreateTask, we actually have a different call. So we basically have to come in here and do roughly the same thing. Is we're going to come in, we're going to handle a post, save it, and now we could do this in the same code, but we're going to do it here. And now, if we go into that page, new one, let's create task 4. New, save record saved. Go back to the admin. And now we see where we saved that record. And as I said before. Now this time, because I came through and loaded the instance data, the form data got loaded into that task form. Then when I set that form up and load it up, then it gets here. Then I get it. I get that data again when I send it in. If I wanted it to be cleared out, then I could come in and I would just create a blank task form. I would just take this. I could move this down here and do that, and then I would get a blank task form again. And that's it. So I will let you get back to it. Have yourself a great day, and we will see you next time.